evening, everyone, and welcome to the final of Summer of Art, but perhaps not the final of Art with AnCan. Stay tuned. We are working on that all the time. So I want to give a big thank you to the Community Foundation of New Jersey, HealtheVoices, Jansen, Johnson & Johnson for the grant funding for all 4 of our classes, including this one. Without their generosity, none of this would have happened. So Hannah and I are so grateful. We are also, I want to say, because this is our last Summer of Art, Hannah and I are incredibly grateful to all of you. You have been so brave because we've seen in the feedback that most of you, this was your first time creating art. And we are just we're so proud of you. And it's something we talk about nearly on a daily basis. And since I work with a lot of our support group leaders, if you are in a support group, I actually brag on you a lot too. So just wanted you to know that. Hannah. So yes. I heard whenever you were talking to the group, because we have like a little pre-chat, that you said that this was kind of new for you too. And so we're all kind of learning together. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to spotlight the art cam and you and get us started.
Yay. All right. Thank you so much, Alexa, for the wonderful introduction, as always. Okay, so if you don't know me already, my name's Hannah Garrison. And yes, so I am an art instructor. I normally teach both virtually and in person. And if it's in person, it's going to be in a hospital setting with other patients as well. And basically, I've taught most types of art mediums, but oil pastels are still a little bit on the newer side to me, not completely new, because of course I've used them before in the past. But honestly, this owl right here, this is probably the most detailed little guy I've ever done. So I'm very excited to teach this to you guys. So yes, this will be a little bit of a new experience for me too, but it'll be fun though. They're a lot of fun. If you want to think about their texture, perhaps maybe think of them as adult crayons, honestly. You get to be a little bit more professional with them. And I've even included something called blenders. And I will go more into details about the blenders. So I guess I can get started on the supplies and get all that going. Just a little, another little housekeeping rule, not rule, but high suggestion. If you can mute your microphone, that would be amazing. That way everybody can focus on the artwork. So where was I going with this? You will probably hear me coughing just a little bit because I'm still a little bit sick, just a little bit. Getting a million times better. I feel like a human as opposed to a noodle. But just wanted to throw that out there. So anyway, you should have gotten in the mail, if you had supplies sent to you, you should have gotten a oil pastels, some blenders, and they look like this. There's various sizes all the way from teeny tiny to larger. And you should have gotten, or some of you should have gotten some paper. Not everybody requested paper, but you should have that at least with you on hand. Paper, blenders, oil pastels. And if you weren't here to hear me earlier, we will also be needing some napkins as well. So the napkins, we'll be cleaning our blenders off on that one. Plus, also, if you got a little bit too much of like the material on your hand and you just kind of want to wipe your hand just a little bit, the napkin's great for that too, of course. We won't be needing any water or anything else. Another thing that I actually did mention this earlier is very, very much optional is a pencil with an eraser. And I will go over in a little bit why I would discourage using a pencil, but if you really do want to use a pencil, you absolutely can. So let's get going. I will actually be teaching both of these poses. So think about whether or not you want your owl to face the front, just completely looking at you from the front, or if you'd like a little side owl like this, just kind of looking back at you. So I will be teaching both poses. As far as colors are concerned, that is 100% up to you. You can go a little bit more traditional where you use browns, yellows, grays, browns, yellows, grays, more neutral colors, I would say. You can absolutely use those. And your oil pastels should come with a huge variety of colors as well. I would say you can also go crazy too. You can totally put crazy colors in there. And I'm the kind of person who loves color. In fact, I have a real problem because I can't seem to ever stop myself from using so much color. Maybe it's not a problem. I don't know. But I absolutely love colors. So I never hold back when it comes to that. So it's 100% up to you. So think about your owl colors and your background colors. I will say right now that we will be focusing on our owl most of the time. Our owl is going to be our main focus, and I am going to show you how to put the background in there, how to color it in and blend it in. But we just know that we may or may not be able to finish the background. So I'm just throwing that out there, but the background is, in my opinion, simple enough, but it's depending on your hand and your comfort level with continuously using repetitive motions, I would say you may want to take some breaks in between. And this actually goes for any of the elements in here. If your hand ever feels like it's a little too much, please take a break, stretch your hand a little bit, just kind of. I tend to like crack my wrists. I don't know if that's a bad thing or not, but it feels good. Helps me to relax a little bit. I would say, if you would like to test out your owl, perhaps do a little tiny drawing beforehand. You're more than welcome to go and grab a scrap piece of paper, or even just pull out a scrap piece of paper from your sketchbook. I'll be showing you, like I said, how to do both poses. And we will also be doing a little color test as well. That'll come after our drawing. We'll do a little color test. So I'm going to grab my piece of paper. I'm going to be showing you how to do the drawings. And I want you guys to take a note of how big your owls are relative to the paper. This is a huge owl. So is this guy right here. This guy takes up, I want to say like maybe even 4/5 of the paper, maybe 3/4 of the paper. I don't know. It's a huge amount. So I do want you guys to draw big owls.
Hannah, can you convert that to hand measuring, please?
Oh, hand measuring. Yes.
Like how many of our hands would these owls be?
Perhaps like 2 hands-ish. See that? It's kind of perhaps 2 hands for that guy. This one's like 3 hands. Okay. Hefty owl right here. 2 to 3 hands.
Heckin'
Does that make
chonker,
sense?
if you will.
Yeah. Chonker. That's right. Are there any questions so far before I go further? Yeah, please feel free to raise your virtual hand or even your actual hand. If you ever get confused, it's totally okay. So I want to describe the owl, the elements of our owl. Our owl, no matter what pose you choose to do, they're always going to have these particular elements. You're always going to have a head. And our head is going to be perhaps egg-shaped, like sideways, or very much an oval. Our body is definitely egg-shaped, that's for sure. He's definitely got a big body down here. It's much larger. Think of your owl as having shoulders. So these shoulders are going to go out, even past the head. They're going to go past the head here. And then they're going to sort of narrow down here. Now, this guy doesn't have any legs. that wasn't intentional. I want you guys to know that I forgot the legs, and I'm just going to point that out. Okay. I'll teach you guys how to draw actual legs in this class. So same thing with this guy. So this guy also has a relatively egg-shaped head. You can see that I shaped it a little bit more. It's a little less round in some spots, but I'll show you how to put that in there. So honestly, you can totally leave it oval or egg-shaped if you want to, but I'll show you how to give it a little more shape as well. Same thing with the body. I will say this right now, this body right here, I totally intended to make room for legs down here. I was going to put legs, didn't happen. So I want you to know it's totally okay if you sort of miss the mark. We are very, very forgiving in these classes. And I always want you to think about that too. Forgive yourself if your hand doesn't really do exactly what you tell what your brain tells it to do. It's totally okay. And you have plenty of paper to keep on going and do it again. It's okay. So our owls also have eyes, and they have a little beak. And if you want to get a little more detailed than this little beak, you absolutely can. But the general basic shape of our beak is a diamond. And so when I draw this shape in here, I'm going to draw a diamond shape. And then later I'll draw this little mark down here, this more like an arrow to make the beak more sharp, go down. And then we also have wings. So it's a little bit different per owl because we see the back side here. Because we see the back side, your wings are going to take over the entire body. So if you're doing this pose, the wings are going to be the entire back. But if you're doing this pose, we have to leave some space for a tummy, very fluffy chest as well. So it's going to have a lot of space for that. And then the wings will be a little bit smaller on the side. So I know that was a lot. Okay. I will be repeating all of it as we go along. And I mentioned a pencil. However, I do highly encourage you guys to draw everything out using a neutral color, perhaps a light color in your oil pastel box. And the only reason I like to stray away from a pencil is because this goes for myself as well. Okay. I tend, and I know a lot of people tend to become hyper focused on the details and getting everything just right. Because you have that ability to erase everything. So it's so easy to just say, okay, let me just fix this thing right here. Okay, let me go back and fix this thing right here. Oh, now I have to fix that thing because I fixed those other things. It's very easy to hyper-focus on that kind of thing. However, if you're using something that's more permanent, but also light, it's light colored, then it's much more freeing, in my opinion. I feel like I'm not held down by those sort of constraints. So I just wanted to throw that out there. But if you absolutely want to use a pencil, mark lightly. Okay.
So Hannah, I just want to say real quick, not only are we exercising our art brains tonight, we're also doing exercise and letting go. So this is going to be good for all of us.
Yes, please. If somebody wants to sing Let It Go, Disney movie, it's okay. I actually like that song. Okay, so I mentioned using a lighter color for our sketches. So I would highly recommend doing that. So I'm gonna go with gray, but if you happen to have like a peach maybe, or perhaps even like a really, really light yellow, that would work as well. It's honestly just whatever color you like, regardless of what your owl is going to look like. So the only reason I'm choosing gray is because I want you guys to be able to see it well. And actually, I'm going to be doing my owls here for the purposes of demonstration. So for me, I'm going to be making 3 owls total, but I want you guys to just make 1 owl. Remember, we want our owl to be big. So the very first thing that I'm going to focus on is going to be this guy right here, this owl. So with this guy right here, maybe I'll draw it bigger actually. I was going to divide my paper, but maybe not. Let's think about our head, and then we're going to draw the body after that. And then we'll draw the smaller details. Oh yes, and including the ears. Either or owl is going to have these ears back here, which I don't think are actually ears. Anyway, so pick your spot, any spot, it doesn't matter. Since I personally want room to show you how to make the legs down here, I'm going to save some space. So my owl is going to be up here. However, you don't have to have legs. If you don't want to even bother with it, that's okay. So we're going to draw it lightly, okay? I'm not going to press down hard. Although actually, maybe, oh, you guys can see that. I was going to say maybe I can press down hard.
Hannah, I made the art cam, the big one, since we're drawing tonight. So we can see it just fine.
Perfect. Thank you. Perfecto. Okay. So that's a very big head, guys. So I'm going to go with it. Very large head. I'll just show you how to do eyes on another one. And then we also want to create our body. So think about shoulders and how even on us humans, our shoulders are going to be out here, way past our head. So I'm going to go over here. Honestly, I need to start over because you guys need to be able to see how to do it fully. So I got my head. There we go, much better. And like I said, it's a little bit more oval shape. You guys can have even more oval shape than this or not. It's up to you. And then I like to draw out my shapes with my finger. So that way I know exactly where to go. And honestly, I kind of missed the mark a little bit. I would actually love for my shoulders to go outward a little bit more. If you're like that as well, you can totally fix your lines, stretch it out. You can see also that I went over the head as well. We're going to have so much color covering this that it's not going to be a problem. We'll be able to cover this line here. Now, down here, I'm going to make it taper, but I'm going to close this line. Taper down, but I'm going to close it. See that? Now, I'm looking at the screen and actually it looks different. I'm going to move to the side here. I can see now I need to fix this a little bit. And like I said, it is okay if you go over your lines because we're going to have so much color covering it that it's okay. So what I'm going to go with is this down here and this line on the side. All of this is going to be covered up. That's going to be covered up. That's going to be covered up. Let's make our little legs now. So we're going to go down here, and owls, they typically have like claws, right? So these claws, you see that? See how bent these are? Well, I'm going to think of these right here as little like elongated egg shapes,
Hannah, could you show that one more time? I spotlighted your video of just you.
Oh, yes, absolutely. So our legs are going to be claws because they have claws, right? So I'm going to think of this part right here as elongated egg shapes or ovals, I guess ovals. I want to say owls, maybe they have 3 toes. I could be wrong. I should have looked this up. I believe they have 3 toes. If you know, please tell me. If you draw however many toes you think it should have. So they're going to be below the owl. Elongated egg shapes. Ta-da. And they're floating here only because I'm going to create, a tree later. I'm going to create a tree later. So 3 of these ovals. And then I'm just going to make a little, like 2 little lines here to represent the its actual legs.
Hannah, Brandy has shared with us that it's 3 front toes and 1 in the back.
Thank you. Yes. Thank you. Okay, so 3 front toes. Okay, so if it has 1 in the back, honestly, we don't have to put it in there. I think it might be a little more complicated to put it in there, so we're gonna leave it out. But we know that there's an extra toe back there. We know this. Okay, so let's jump actually to the top here, and let's put some ears in here. And they can be larger than this if we want to. It's completely up to you. If you want to, you can also make this a little bit more flat. If you'd rather it not be an egg shape anymore, or like a more round, you can flatten this out. And I would do that by going across if you want to do that. This is a new line, but you don't have to. So these ears, they're going to go upward. Very pointy ears. And now let's make some big eyes and mine look like cat ears. So if yours look like cat ears, perhaps you can curve them a little bit more, or perhaps add a little tuft. I know some owls have like a little tuft of feathers sticking out too. That tuft will probably disappear later, so you'll have to put it on later. But if, say, for example, maybe they're more like that, maybe you drew them more like that, you can always go over it again, curl it at the end there, if that makes more sense. Curl it more at the end. And it's okay if they're not symmetrical, because I'm sure that maybe there's some wind going and moving the ear or something. Maybe it's moving the ear on its own. You don't know. So let's draw some eyes. And remember, the eyes, we want them to be big. For this part, I'm actually going to switch to a light yellow, because I do feel like the yellow might be a little too, the gray might be a little too much for the yellow. So because it's the eye, I'm going to switch to my my yellow pastel. And I like to, once again, just sort of draw out with my finger where my eyes are going to be. We want some big peepers. Ta-da. And then my nose is going to be right in between. I am going to avoid this line just a little bit, but it's okay if it crosses a little bit. I mean, that's okay. I aimed for going upward, didn't happen, so we're just going to go with it. So we got some eyes, we got a nose, and then we will switch back. I will switch back to my gray. We've got to draw the wings right here. Now remember, we have a big fluffy chest and belly, okay? And that area right there in the middle is a great opportunity for pattern. So any kind of pattern you want to put, any kind of colors you want to put. So make sure to give your tummy lots of tummy, or give your owl lots of tummy space. My wings are going to come down to the side here. They're going to be a little bit thicker at the top right here, and then they're going to taper down so that they look pointy. And I'm actually aiming for this portion right here, aiming for this part where this shape changes, where the body shape changes. Going to come down on that side as well. And there we have the basic shape of our first owl. So, are there any questions before I move on to the next owl? No questions? Okay, cool. Pose number 2 now. Let's go for it. Okay, I'm just gonna go on the other side of this guy. Okay, pose number 2. We have our little owl that's looking back at us, and we're gonna start the same way we started before. We're going to start with our head. We will have to draw some eyes in a little bit, but again, it is okay if we overlap these eyes, the eyes in the head. So we're going to start with the same basic oval shape, even though you don't see a line here. It's totally started out as with everything connected. So this guy is much bigger. So it's up to you if you want to keep him much bigger or not. Start out with that same oval shape.
Is he going to have feet?
Would you like for me to put feet in there?
Not necessarily. I just don't want to run out of room.
Oh yeah. You know, I can put feet in there. You don't have to, but I can. I think that his pose makes it seem like his feet aren't really going to show. But I see an area down here where possibly, yeah, you know what, Brandy? Yeah, part of just one. I will put part of just one way down here. So we will go ahead, and now that we have the head, we'll go ahead and start with the body. So same thing.
Hey,
However,
Hannah, can I just tell you that Google says that owls have one of their toes that they can decide if it goes forward or backwards.
one of their toes where they can decide if it goes forward. So they can move
Owls
it.
have 4 toes on each foot. 2 toes point forward, 1 toe points backward, and the reversible outer toe of each foot can point either forward or backward as the owl wishes.
I love that.
3 of the owl's toes point forward, sometimes only 2.
I'm learning a lot about owls.
I
love
know.
this. Wow, they're so cool because I know they can turn their heads all the way around. Okay, yeah. Anytime you want to throw in some owl facts, please be my guest. So we have a little body to take into to draw now. And I want you guys to know that this body, if you happen to still have space down here, it's going to be more pointy. So I know you don't see, somebody says mine so far needs to be on a diet. Oh my God, I love that. Oh, I just want to hug an owl. Okay. So these feathers would theoretically, if I had more space, would come to a point down here, just so you guys know. If I had super chunk L, that's funny. If I had space here, it would come down to a point. But I'm going to draw it. I'm going to start it the same way I did before with that previous owl. It's got a lot of shoulder space out here. I'm going to draw it out with my finger. Come out here. Let's see if I can make it to a point. Not quite. That's okay. Now I do want him to have more shoulder. So I'm going to redraw it. There we go. And since we don't really need space in the middle for a tummy, can't see the tummy, we're going to have a lot more wing space. This is a really great time to experiment with more patterns. You have a lot more pattern space right here. So I'm going to just figure out where my middle is right here. And I'm going to draw a line right there. And this line is going to be slightly curved upward. And I want you to know that I had fully intended on putting this line in the middle. Didn't quite make the mark, but it still makes sense. So works out. Right about here. Ta-da! Personally, I feel like I'm going to want to fix the shape of my head a little bit, but I'll get to that part. Now we have some ears to put in there now. So let's put some ears. Like I said, I wanted to change the shape of my head a little bit. So, because I personally love the flat part right here. That's just me. So I see how skewed mine is personally. I don't know what yours is going to look like, but mine personally is a little skewed up here. So that gives me more room to play around sort of drag this line out here, sort of fix that a little bit. But that's just mine. And so let me have these curved. We're gonna curve up. Now, notice how I started at the top there, curved it upward like so. There we have it. Now yours don't have to be as big as mine are either. I mean, I feel like owls have these ears, or maybe they're just feathers. I don't know, but they're all different sizes depending on the owl. Now, the next thing we'll do after this is the eyes and the beak, and fix up the head shape after that, because if you can see this part right here, he's got a little cheek sticking out. He's got a little owly cheek sticking, like kind of curving a little bit more, which we don't get if we stick with the traditional egg shape right here. So I am going to add that part in there. Once again, I'm going to move to my my eye color, my yellow, and I'm going to draw my eyes with the yellow. And you can see this eyeball is sticking out here. It looks a little funny right now because we're going to have an eyeball that's just kind of sticking out of the face. So I would actually start with that eyeball and gauge where to put the other eye next to it. So start with this one that sticks out. Perhaps it sticks out about halfway, or even less than halfway is okay. Gonna have big old peepers. Now that one's a little small. That eyeball could be bigger. So I'm going to stretch it out like so. And then his little beak is a little diamond shape. Put that right in the middle. I aimed for going above this line, but if it happens to cross over a little bit, that's okay. I wasn't kidding when I said we were going to focus on our owl for most of this.
And Hannah, I just want to drop in with some more owl education.
Yes.
A fun fact, everyone, because Hannah and I work together so much, even on non-art projects. I teach her Gaeilge, which is Irish Gaelic, and the Irish Gaelic word for owl is Ochaban. So that just increases your allocation. So
Ochaban.
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 Perfect. Great job, Hannah.
I did it. Yeah. She has tried to teach me my color, the Gaelic colors. And I would say I memorized a few of them for a while and then didn't use them again.
Well, I don't quiz you on them.
You don't quiz me.
Yes.
Quiz me. I'll feel the pressure that way. Okay, so let's give our little owl a cheek on the side right here. So all I'm gonna do is go back to my original color, my gray, and I see here where my shoulder starts. And I also see my eyeball right here. And I'm just gonna boop, make a little curve right on the outside. Oh yes, ojo is Spanish for eye. That's right. Dos ojos. Yeah, and that's the beginnings of our owl. And I know it looks a little funny right now, but we're gonna put some color in there. Oh yes, I'm sorry. I have one more thing to show you guys. I actually gave it a little bit of a neck because this pose sort of called for the neck to be drawn in. So actually we're going to connect this part. We're going to connect the shoulder to the head. It's going to be slightly curved inward, just slightly. Ta-da! Slightly curved inward, just like that. Oh yes, we had a request for a little bit of a foot down here. And I would say if you're looking kind of off to the side, you'll probably be able to see a little bit more of that back portion of the toe. So perhaps start down here. This is only if you want part of the foot down here, only if you want the part of the foot. So you don't have to put this part. So this part, this represents the part of the outer claw down here. That's this part. And then that's this part right up here. And then I'm just gonna draw in the bottom of the foot. We really don't get to see too much. Okay. So Brandy says, if we thought about drawing a limb, would it be better to draw the foot or the limb first?
I just don't know how oil pastels work. Like, would you put it on top of the limb or?
Oh, I see. I think I see what you're saying. Like once we actually color it in.
Yeah, if I made like a brown limb right there that the toe is going to go around, should I not draw the toe first?
You mean the like a branch, you mean?
Yeah, sorry, branch.
Limb,
branch. Yeah.
No, it would be better to draw the leg of the owl first.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. So you got it right here. Perfecto. Cool. So I think that I will probably have 2 owls to draw with you guys. Let's start with something that'll just kind of get our feet wet, so to speak. Let's put our base color in our eyes first. Oh, I'm sorry. I wanted you guys to test out your oil pastels first, actually, so we're not going to quite color anything just yet. Because Amazon didn't exactly allow me to send you guys all the same oil pastel set. I want you guys to, I don't really know how your colors are going to work. So I would like to see whether or not I would like you guys to see whether or not your particular set is able to overlap color. This one right here, I was able to overlap and put these scribbles on top of my base color. So it allows for these types of additional marks that you create later after you put in your base color. So you can put your base color first and then go crazy with it on top with other colors on top of it. However, not all oil pastels are the same, unfortunately. It doesn't matter if I type in professional oil pastel set, it's still going to give me beginner sets. It doesn't matter. So this one was created with a set that did not allow me to layer colors the same way this one's. So no matter what, all of you guys, no matter what, you're always going to think of your oil pastels in terms of patches. So you're going to put your colors in there, lay them all down separately in patches. No matter what, okay? It's just that some oil pastels have the advantage of you being able to go on top of it later with other colors. And that's not to say that you can't completely go over some oil pastels, or I'm sorry, go over your oil pastels with another color. The one color in which I was able to overlap was the black oil pastel. And that's how I was able to get the branches, because it allowed me, the black was strong enough that I could put the branches in there. So that wasn't a problem with that particular color. So in order to test everything out, here's what you do. You choose the colors that most of the colors that you want to use, or at least similar colors, I would say. Even if you don't know everything right now, you make little color swatches. Put them close together. So I want to stay close to the browns right here. I want to have a lot of browns and maybe a little bit of gray. Maybe I'll put a little gray in there. If you're unsure, you can always decide later. So put those color swatches in. You don't have to choose every single color that you want right now, just most of them, or at least a good portion. I know I want some greens for the background, so I can just put a couple greens in there. Dun, dun, dun. So those are your color swatches. For me, I'm going to, because I have 2 color sets to show you, in which to show you the differences, I'm going to put my my second set down. So, but you guys will only have one set of color swatches. And what we're going to do is we're going to pick a few colors to overlap. And I'll show you what that's going to look like in a moment here. Let's see, what did I say I wanted? I wanted greens. I wish that they could standardize these sets. It'd make life so much easier, but they do not. I think I just got lucky with this particular set from Hobby Lobby. I'm looking for gray. Do I have gray? Oh, I do have gray. Any questions so far? You guys doing okay? I know that was a lot of drawing. Okay, one more.
No questions. I'm just excited to start coloring.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Okay. So set number one. This one on the bottom here, this is my set that doesn't allow me to layer anything. So I can just take any one of my colors, swipe it across, see what that looks like. I'll take my white here, see what that looks like. I cannot see my white at all. That was one swipe of the white, cannot see it at all. Perhaps, I know I have some blue in here in this one in the background. So let me show you what that looks like. So I think I got lucky on that one. I can actually see that. That's crazy. It doesn't show up.
I have a quick question about the white one you just used.
Sure.
So did it pick up like the actual piece of the oil pastel? Like, do you have to now clean it off if you're going to use it?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. All right.
Yeah. In fact, typically my experience in the past with oil pastels has been that the white is going to be your blender. So if you don't have one of those, one of these things right here, you could always use white to blend everything too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So just for future reference. Let's see. So anyway, like I said, this is all my non-blendy set right here. And I've trying to put pink all through it. Can't do it. Now, here is my my set that does blend. So here's what that looks like. Let me put these guys back. Like I said, I wish I didn't have to give a demonstration like this. I wish it all was standardized, but it's not. So
Hannah, I don't know if you remember, but in early YouTube, there was the popular YouTube show, Will It Blend? This is the remix of that, the art remix.
Will It Blend? Oh, is that by
yes, where they put things in a blend, just random things. Will It Blend? But this is completely different meaning.
Completely different meaning. Love the show. I love that show so much. Yeah, I love that. I'm gonna have to rewatch that. Do you see that right here? Like this purple totally went right across all those colors. So not every color is exactly the same. You can see this color is mixing. This is actually a really good mixing color or mixing set. So I just wanted you to see that.
It's about certain colors even within the set. You have to test each one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you don't have to test each one with this particular project, but if you want to use it further, yes, I would do that.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So we're all going to approach it the same way, though. I just wanted you to see that. We're all going to be coloring it in patches. Like I mentioned earlier, I'm going to have like everything's going to be separated. We're going to color it all in there first. It's just if you have this one of the sets in which you can overlap, you are capable of doing extra to it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So okay, so let's color. Let's stop. Enough talking. Let's color. All right. So let's start off easy. Let's put our base color for our eyeballs in there. This one, I know it looks green, but that's only because I added green in there later. This one I primarily stuck with with the yellow. I added a little bit of green, a little bit of brown in there. It's honestly completely up to you what you want to do. This is a good thing to think about. Always start with your light colors, and then we'll add darker colors on top, no matter what kind of set you have. Start with light colors. We're going to add dark on top. And we need to put like a little dot in here for our iris. This dot, we're going to go over it with a darker one later, a darker color, I should say. But we're going to start with a dot because we need a placeholder. We need some place to start. And then we will just radiate outward with this color. These can be as loose as you want. You can have space in the middle for other colors. Now I'm definitely putting a little extra color on top of this gray line here, the gray line that overlapped. And because our beak is going to be yellow, I'm going to go ahead and just fill in my beak color with yellow. Just nothing special about it. Just kind of fill it in. I am pressing down a little harder on the area where my gray overlapped. Now for you guys, you fill it in on yours. I have another owl to make on this side. So if you missed it on the first one, you can watch this one. Make my dot for my little owly eyes. And I'm gonna radiate outward with this color. It can be as evenly spaced or chaotic as you want it to be.
And
Even
Hannah,
if
a quick plug that if you make things in your own time and would like to submit them to the AnCan Art Gallery, even if you are watching this class on YouTube, we would be happy to post them.
yes, yes. We love seeing student artwork. And we love to show off our students too. All right. We've got our eyes in there. We've got our beak in there. For this particular one, because I knew that I wanted these crazy colors, that's actually what I started with. I started with these patterns, with these patches right here. Same thing with the middle portion here. So I do encourage you guys to have whatever color patches you want wherever you want them. This is how we're going to start. So you can, if you're doing this pose, you can totally do the same type of pattern right here as well. But I will show you how to make this nice little gradient too. So if you want to hang tight and wait for the gradient, you can do that too. But if you're doing patterns, I would start with the patterns. Think of them as patches. And just because I can, I'm going to go ahead and make one in here too. Let's see. Maybe I don't want blue this time. Maybe I'll do pink. A little pink owl. So these are done going with the shape of the wing right here. See how I'm following this line right here? Now, the wings, the pattern on both sides of the wing, no matter which pose you're doing, they're always going to be symmetrical, or at least mostly symmetrical. Now, this is me going crazy, okay? This is just me choosing colors that I really like.
Or alternatively, you are celebrating Thyroid Cancer Awareness Month.
I am. There you go. Maybe I can do, I don't know, little pattern. You know what? I'll do little patterns on this guy right here. So we're working on the outer wings. If you're doing this pose right here, I'll show you how to do the body. Go creative with it. Get creative. Do the patterns you'd like. If you wanted to do circles, like, I don't know, like circular patterns, that would be really cool too. If you want, here's something I hadn't thought about until just now. If you want a specific area to remain light colored or white even, then I would actually, let's see if you can put that in now, because white is depending on your own, actually, no, sorry, let me backtrack a little bit. If you want a certain spot to be white, then if I were you, I would think about what color the rest of your area is going to be, and perhaps outline it or circle it or something. So perhaps the rest of my area is going to be gray.
Ooh, Hannah, we got a great question. How is this different than using crayons?
Ooh, this is no different, honestly. It's not. That's a great question. Yeah, because with crayons, you can't really blend. Not really. And this is just like using crayons, except we will be able to actually blend it in a little bit, but you'll still be able to see your texture, the texture of your strokes. What a great question.
I chose to use my crayon pen, you know, because I'm doing digital. And my crayon was the best one to do. So I feel good. That's what I picked.
No, that's a great observation. I'm glad you saw that. So I want this area to be white right here. So I'm actually going to color it white, and I can even go over this circle that I made. And you see how it's actually dragging in whatever speckles of color, like flecks of color, fell in the middle. And that's actually more realistic. I feel like that's a more realistic representation of feathers. So I would let that happen. That's a good thing. So like I said, everything out here is going to be gray. I had to outline my white area in that color. I really hope that makes sense. So I'll come back to this area too. Let's see, maybe I can do a little more right here. Perhaps I can demonstrate a little white area with this guy right here. Let's see, I can like do like really abstract, like I want the same shape as this one, but I want it to be in white. So I'm just kind of making a little, I don't even know what the shape is. Pretending I'm scribbling. And then I'm going to color it white in the middle. So that's how you get around that. We'll work on the face later. I want to get our body in there first. And then perhaps I'm just thinking out loud at this very moment in time. I'm just thinking out loud. I think I want a little bit of yellow in here too. Maybe that same lighter yellow I use for the eyes. I think that would be nice. Again, thinking in terms of patches. Yeah, I like that. So if you happen to be doing this pose right here, honestly, I'll be honest, the only pattern I could think of myself was to do something like this, where I have patches of yellow in the middle. But of course, you can substitute the yellow with any other color, gray, for example. I started off with my patches color, so yellow. I started off with yellow, and then I'll show you what I did once you have to fill in the rest of this color. But I kept it light color for a reason, and I'll show you how to do that in a minute. So let's see. I think I'll do that same pattern, but that's only because I can't think of anything else.
You know, Hannah, maybe could triangles work?
Triangles could work too. Like, what if I did maybe starting here? Maybe the triangles get a little bigger as I go upwards. Oh, I like that. I say get a little bigger, but my hand is doing something else. But I'm just going to go for it. There. And I can always color that in. yeah, if you guys think of something else you've done.
So are we doing this on the other, if we're doing the other pattern? I mean, the other.
No, all of these colors and all of these patterns are optional. So it's whatever of these you like and want to do.
Thanks, Party Monster. Remember to send us your art.
Mm-hmm. Now, here's what you can do if you want a little gradient, like this guy right here. So right over here. So we will be starting off with the lightest color. I would choose 3 colors: a light color, a medium color, and a dark color. And again, this is only if you want a gradient, like right here. It goes from light to a darker brown to a darker brown down here. In fact, I think the 2 colors I used were, I want to say this one, this one, and this one. So these were my 3 gradient colors. And of course, you can always mix it up. Like if you want gray, for example, you can do gray, mix. I would use this as my light and this is my darker. So you could do something like that if you want to. Depends on how you view it. I will go ahead and replicate this right here unless I have requests for something else. I know that only because that's a good candidate to have a gradient. Because there's so much space right here that, like I said, that's a good candidate for a gradient. However, if you're doing this pose, these wings, you can also squeeze in color in here as well. Like if I wanted to do it here, I have plenty of space right here for my light color in the shoulders, medium color, and then dark color on the bottom. Yeah, Party Monster. Let me spotlight you real quick so we can show you. So you can show us if I can find you.
I got it, Hannah.
Okay, good. What in the world? That's amazing.
I love it. I love
My
this color.
gosh.
I know. Can you show us again? Oh my gosh.
Wow.
I know. I love it so much.
Quick.
He did that. Isn't it beautiful, hon?
No, not in this.
So quick. I love
It's
that.
awesome.
Oh my gosh,
Thank
you
you very
did
much.
amazing. Thanks, Party
Woohoo!
Monster. Bye.
I appreciate
you.
all the help. You guys are great. Thank you.
Thank you. Yay. Oh, that was so cool. That was fast. My goodness. I love it. Okay, so let me show you. Dun, dun, dun. I'm going to start, like I said, with my lightest color. So I would be very generous with your light color. Even go into the areas in which you know for sure you're going to have like a medium color or even a dark color, quite honestly. Go into those areas. It's better to be able to have more space with the light area, the light color that you can play with than less space. So notice how I'm going up and down, and that's because my feathers, they go up and down on an actual owl. It's just the texture, it's the way the feathers lay down on the actual owl. So my hand strokes are going to be just like that. I should just say brush strokes. I'm just going to say brush strokes, you guys. So always a problem. So I'm being very generous, even though realistically I am going to cover up most of this yellow. The dark colors always have an easier time going over the light colors. You can't really do it vice versa. I would say even if you have those colors that can overlap, you may have more of a difficult time layering the colors. So anyway, you can honestly move into your medium color at any point. So I can just the only reason I'm putting this medium color much further up is because that creates a little bit of depth And I can even go over some of my patches just a little bit. I mean, you can completely avoid them if you want to, but I feel like it makes it a little bit more realistic if you go over any one of your patches, even just a little bit. Notice how I'm still going into this area that I know is going to be darker. Now my middle line is probably going to disappear for a little bit, but again, I can always bring it back with a darker color. It's going to be a lot easier to bring lots of things back with the darker colors. I'm going to do what I can to preserve the white area here because I want a little bit of depth and give our chunky little owl some shape. I'm going to add this medium color much further up in the shoulders. Hooray for chunky owl. And there we go. And honestly, if you get a little carried away like I did and cover more of this area, that's okay. That dark color is going to take care of that. I have my darker brown now, and now I'm starting from the bottom, moving upwards. Now I don't have to be too careful with my my brush strokes down here, but I'm just concerned about moving upward. Maybe I'll just kind of go up like this. In fact, I'm going to go upwards a little bit more. I'm just putting one line in at a time just on the side here. So I want more of that depth to be upward here. Now, I'm going to jump to the other owl, other little guy here. You guys have a little bit less of a space to work with. But like I said, you can absolutely still put that same gradient. You can actually see right here, I do still have that gradient. I have gray right here at the top, just a little bit. I have, this one is next, then this one right over here. And then actually I decided to put purple right on top of this color. So these two kind of mix a little bit way at the bottom down here. So I mixed it up a little bit. You know, I didn't want to be too traditional. So I actually have 4 colors in my gradient here, and I did it the same way. So start with your lightest color, work your way down to the darkest. So for this guy, if I wanted to do it the exact same way, or should I do it different? Do you guys want to see it different or the same?
Same.
Same? Okay. Gotcha. We'll do it the same then. So just so you guys know, right in the middle portion here, there is still gray down here, but just for now, I'm going to concentrate that up here. In fact, I can even, I think in the beginning, I gave her a little necklace up here. It's like, she's got a gray necklace. So once again, my brush strokes are going sort of with the shape of the owl up and down once you get towards the middle.
Hannah, so her necklace is platinum actually, because she's worth it.
She is worth it. What did I say I use next? I use this one. Here we go. So next one is going to be this lighter brown. Dun, dun, dun. I'm actually going to add the gray a little further down. And just so you guys know, in the middle here, I actually, and I'll show you in a minute, but in the middle here, I have a combination of gray and this light brown right here. So, and I'll show you how to put that in there in a second. So I'm going with the shapes, with the lines that I already have established. I'm even overlapping a little bit and dragging some colors downward, overlapping some of these areas in which I know for sure it's going to be a darker color. And those areas, once we get to our blender portion in which we use these guys right here, those areas will mix. You can see how well it mixed right here on the bottom. I'm going to stretch down. And just so you guys know, I should have mentioned this earlier, but if you ever want to, I guess, take a little break from your little owl, and just do the background or start on the background as you go along, you can certainly do that. You can see here, I approached this background the same way I did my owls, in patches. So you can see these patches, and these patches, they blended a little bit once I went over the blender. This part right here is what it looks like without the blender, because I wanted you guys to see what that looks like, in case you like this texture as opposed to the smooth texture. So just thought I'd throw that out there. So I'm going to add my next color. I have a slightly darker brown than what I had been using. I'm going to stretch that much further down. In fact, I may as well just cover this whole thing with that third brown.
So are you saying like the patches? Because I want to do that. Just throw in some color patches and they're going to be blended in.
Yeah. So I want to show you the difference between the two. This back here is done with much smaller patches. And I strategically actually put more of the greens and yellows up here, and down here, more of my blues and purples, just because I wanted that weight. And over here, however, these are much longer patches because I wanted more of an area. So if you don't want to do these tiny patches, you can absolutely do these longer patches. And just like everything else we're doing, always start with the lighter color. So if you're going to put yellows or oranges or a light pink or lavender, start with those first, and then move into your darker colors. So you can, in the example of this one right here, stretch your brush strokes kind of across if you want to do this kind of thing. But over here, definitely much smaller patches. Let's see. Okay, so this guy right here, I want to put my purple in there. So I had just kind of put in a little bit of purple and just kind of swipe it upwards a bit. Not too much because, again, it is a darker color. It's already going to be very powerful. Although because I want to give this little guy a little bit of depth, I am stretching it upward a little bit. There we go. Just a little reminder as well, we're focusing mostly on our owl. So I do encourage you guys to sort of start on the background anytime you can. So here's a longer patch for the background. Just to get mine going, that's all. Just gonna throw that in there. So if you have legs in your owl, go ahead and put the color in for that. I kind of like this combination of gray and yellow personally, but if you don't, you're more than welcome to cover it up with some brown. Like I say cover it up. Really what I mean is overlap the gray with some brown. If I wanted to, I could take another brown, just kind of cover that up. This is
just a quick question. So while we're doing the background, I noticed, does it matter since it's not feathers, like which way we do the brush strokes or the pastel strokes?
Good question. Just know that whichever direction you choose to do, it will most likely show up. So whenever you're using your blender, if you want to use the blender to blend it all in, we would be going with those strokes, going in the same direction of those strokes, because it makes more sense that way. So it's all up to you which direction, but that's a great question.
So, because I was just going to do like all the directions for a sunrise or sunset, because it's just a color, but yeah.
It will show up. Yeah.
Okay.
It'll show up. Okay. So I want to show you guys, if you're doing this pose, I want to show you guys how to do that middle color that you see here. Because I personally wanted it to be lighter. I actually didn't press down hard, even though I was already using like a semi-light color brown for the middle. I still wanted it to be light. Like it's still going to be a heavy pigment concentration. Like it's still going to be a lot of color depending on how hard you press down, if that makes more sense. So I pressed down lightly. And if I remember correctly, I also actually used the white in there as well, my white pastel. So I'm not going to press down as hard as I did in this side of the wing. And I intentionally wanted it to look more like feathers, much more feathery. So I didn't have, I didn't put my brush strokes or my marks as close together as I could have. Like I just I very lightly put it in there. That blender is still gonna blend it. So, but it's gonna blend it in a way that's a lot lighter than these wings on the side. And then as for the gray, because I mentioned that there's some gray in here, I have a few little flecks in there, here and there, mostly on the bottom. But of course, you're more than welcome to put it anywhere you want. You can put these flecks anywhere you want. I also happen to like underline these little patches here in this picture. You don't have to do that if you don't like that look. You can throw in those flecks anywhere you want. Like so. Now I want to move into the face again, or face now. Start that process. Once again, with the face, we'll start off with the lighter colors. Let me show you both of them. For me personally, I knew that I wanted to have some crazy colors in the face. So once again, I started with that as my very first things. So just like how we started with the crazy color patches, or any patches really in the wings, we'll do that in this one. So like here, I would start here in his little eyebrows. I know I had a bunch of color on the side here. I knew that I wanted it to be a little bit lighter in color. That was just me personally. So once again, I didn't really press down hard with the purple. I think I even used a medium purple, if I remember correctly. I just knew that I didn't want it to be as bold, not in this one at least. So I pressed down lighter. Maybe I'll put some blue in there. Why not? Maybe I'll put this blue. And the same thing applies here, where it will be a lot easier to to add the darker color on top of it than it will be to add the lighter color on top. So I just wanted these very loose patches in there. Now, personally, I think it would be really nice to have like a peach color in the face. Well, maybe not. I'm looking at the sky, maybe not. Maybe I'll turn to this one and see how I feel about that. I know I definitely had peach in here, like on the side up here, or I'm sorry, above this eye and above this eye. So I see peach in here. I see this kind of color. I knew there was a cat in here. Just dropped something. So let's see. I had in this owl right here, I have peach. I have this color. I have a golden brown. This one right here. So it always helps to lay your colors out so you can see them. And of course, that one broke. Wouldn't be my set if something didn't break. And then actually I have a little bit of this color, the beak color right in here too.
I would also encourage you all, try to name your owl.
Yes.
And whenever we present at the end, tell us what your owl's name is.
Mine's going to be Mrs. Flappers.
Okay, that's a great name.
It just popped into my head, Mrs. Flappers. Maybe they can be a family of owls. So this peach color is light enough that I can still overlap my yellow in my wing. So I'm just kind of making that even. Kind of putting some of that in there. Let's see. Oh, that's right. I wanted some color in this face. So I'm going to put some color patches up here. Again, thinking of everything in terms of patches. And now I can put some of my other colors. Like I really like, here it is, this brown. Now notice how I'm kind of, my brush strokes are radiating outward. Like that. Like, because for me personally, I envision the feathers moving outward away from the eyes. The eyes seem to be central. They're definitely a very important part of the face. So I'm moving outward. Let's see, I need to add my lighter brown. I'm starting to cover up my my gray lines. Definitely going over them, that's for sure. Let's see, for whatever reason, I forgot to put color right there in that spot. I didn't do that intentionally. There. There we go. Now I'm just talking out loud right now. I'm just putting this darker brown around the eyes. And I would suggest finding some sort of color that's darker just to outline the eyes now. I do want to go over my eyes with a darker excuse me, a darker yellow, but maybe even like a blue or a green or something. I'm also going to put a little bit of a darker, either like a light orange or or a darker yellow into the beak as well. Because if you're like me and you just put some of that same beak color into the feathers, it probably has disappeared by now. So perhaps I can do a light orange, and I can start by outlining it, but also I can add a little tiny, like a arrow pointing, I guess not an arrow, what would you call that? Like a point going down in the middle. And just for the sake of making things even, I will also put this orange in my eye. Pressing down hard because I also want to cover up that gray line too. There we go. Just realized I also need to start on the background for this guy too. So I'm just going to put that in patches. Any other questions right now?
What am I doing?
I know, that's the big question, right? What am I doing with myself?
Yes.
Taking an art class.
What is this hot mess?
I know. It's okay. I find that the scribbling is my favorite part. Really is. All right, so I at least put a little bit of that background in there. For me personally, I don't know how far along you guys are, but I need to add some color into my ears up here. Now I'm probably going to continue that same brown, but I'm going to put a little bit of a lighter brown in there first. Like so. I think I will go over that with another brown. This is a different brown that I just on the whim decided to add to this particular wing. And now I feel like a lot of us are now at that point where we're almost ready to start blending, or perhaps we even are ready to start blending. I would recommend using the largest of the blenders when you get to that point, just because it's easier to hold, I believe. However, if you have some of these, like if you have any tiny areas, then I would definitely use the smaller one if you can. Oh yes, I have to do the head in this guy right here. Now I know we were talking about doing lighter, like pressing down lighter for the sake of a lighter looking area in here. And I'm going to do the same thing in the head of up here. So I know that I already have gray. So I'm just going to continue some of this gray into the head. But I will add some brown into it too. But again, I want this to be mostly lighter, not as heavy with color. Even though this is a smaller space, that I feel like I'm trying to squeeze my oil pastels into tiny spaces here. As long as we get some kind of color in there, we can use our blenders to make everything right. Like right here, there's not much space up here, but I can at least squeeze in a little bit.
I have a lot of hope on these blender magic things.
I love them. It's like using blank pencils to bring everything together. So I'll put a little bit of color up here. There we have it. Oh yes, I still need to put some more color in these eyes. So I'm going to do that real quick and then I'll show you how to use it. Maybe her eyes will be more on the green side. Oh yes, and I still need to give my beak a little more shape. So I'm going to choose, here it is, that light orange again. And I'm going to put that beak shape in there, have this little, that shape. And we are going to put pupils in our eyes too. That'll come after the blenders. Okay. So if you are using, if you're doing a lighter gradient like this one right here, then here's what you can do. Some of your blender packs came with like a, what is it? Like a piece of sandpaper. You can use that to sort of wipe down. It is going to sandpaper your blender a little bit. But the napkin will work perfectly fine for wiping off your blender. Even though the blender is very much like it picks up all the colors of everything you've used beforehand, as long as you just wipe it of that excess color, then you shouldn't be able to contaminate all this. I say shouldn't, but again, every oil pastel set is different. So here's how the blender works. See how I'm going on top of my eye, going on top of the colors. I'm blending these colors, but I still have to go with the same direction in which I put the color down in the first place. So these colors are radiating outward. This is how you blend. You see the difference between these two eyeballs? I'm still going with that same shape. Gonna move to the next eyeball. Gonna wipe it down again. And I am starting my blending on top of my lighter color. So my yellow here. See that? And if you don't want quite as much blending, then perhaps do one color patch at a time. Like for here, I can stick to doing green first. Just kind of jump around within the eyeball, wipe it off a bit, and then do the orange. That way it doesn't blend as much. That's only for me, unless you're like me and you put extra colors in there. Wipe it down again a little bit. Now I actually meant to put a darker yellow in here. That's just kind of what I wanted to do. There we go.
So Hannah, we have a few people heading out. So I just want to make sure. So we've just blended out in the direction that we had our pattern, right?
Mm-hmm.
For all of it.
Yes, we did. Yes, for all of it.
Okay.
Yes, that's what we do. We just blend in the direction of the marks we already put down. So,
okay.
So in case you need to leave, that's what we're going to do. And that's what we're going to be doing throughout this entire picture. Hope that answers your question.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Tiffany. I don't know if she's still here.
Yeah. So if you want to, So if you would like to go ahead, Hannah, I'll disconnect you. I'll take you off spotlight for just a second so we can see each other. If you would like to go ahead and show your artwork now, even if it is still in progress, we're still going to love it.
Holly,
oh my
I
gosh,
see
the
you,
owl has
oh, sunglasses, I love it. Alexa,
Okay.
is it okay if we spotlight them?
Of course, we're going to do a roll call. So I'm just going to go
Okay.
by what I see on my camera. So Colleen Smith, you're up.
Yay, Colleen.
Woo!
So
Okay,
much
I haven't blended yet,
greenery.
but I'm getting there.
Yeah, you got it. You're on the right track. Yeah.
Thank
Way
you,
to
Hannah. This is
go.
a joy. Such a joy. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
All
Colleen.
right. And then
Beautiful.
Susie, you're on my screen.
Perfect. Susie. Yay.
Everybody's eyes look like limes.
Susie, your colors are gorgeous.
that's
your
not
colors are really
Beautiful.
beautiful.
It reminds me of an owl in the desert.
Ooh,
Oh, thank you.
yes.
Thank you.
All right.
I feel like she can see through my soul. I love it.
I see you, Brandy. Brandy's just ready to go. So, Brandy, you're up.
Brandy, I see your brush strokes and I think they're gorgeous. I think they're
Beautiful.
so pretty. And that's going to look beautiful once you blend it all together.
And we need the pupils.
Yes, we need to put the pupils. Yes, we do.
Okay,
Yes,
okay,
we will
cool.
do that. We will do that.
All right. And then Tony's ready. Oh my gosh.
Ooh, look at you. I love that.
Wow.
Tony, those colors are gorgeous.
Oh my gosh.
Like it's
And
mad.
look at that attitude.
Yes, it has so
I
much
know.
personality.
Yep. Yep.
That's a good Halloween owl.
Loving,
No kidding.
loving the
Oh,
eyes. Honestly,
Wow.
Tony, you're so brave to put like the pinks and the reds together with the greens.
Yes.
I love that.
And then Sharon.
There
Oh
we
my
go.
gosh.
I see you
Yes.
started with the background, blending the background in. I love that. It's so pretty.
beautiful.
The gradient is gorgeous, and I love the colors in your owl too.
The owl colors are gorgeous.
Yep.
Beautiful.
Awesome,
Great
Sharon.
job.
Thank you, Sharon.
Okay. Hold him. Okay, Heather. Oh my
Hey,
gosh.
Three
It's a
owls.
Family.
Yeah,
And
we
there's
have
mine.
So much personality with those guys too. And the blending on the feathers is beautiful.
Oh my
All of them are
gosh.
blended so well. Very cool. Thank you guys.
Amazing.
They
All
all
right,
have pony
Holly.
names. There we go.
Again, I
Holly.
love
There's
the owl
sunflowers.
sunglasses.
The sunflowers are the sunglasses are beautiful. I said sunflowers because your sunset reminds me of like summer.
Yeah.
Sunflowers, sunsets, beautiful.
Mine
And I
has
also-
cone shoes on.
I love that you kind of have some
Yep.
of those colors in the feathers too.
Uh-huh.
Fantastic job.
We had a
Thank
fun
you.
day.
Who have we not gotten yet?
Fun. I'll do that again.
Yeah, Andrea, I see
Andrea?
you up. There you go. There we go. Those colors. I love that. She has a necklace on. Look
Oh,
at
she
her
is
makeup
styling
her
and
face.
profiling.
I'm loving your colors, especially that face up there. That's beautiful.
It doesn't even look like wings. It looks like a couture jacket. This
Uh-huh.
owl is a
Yeah.
posh one. Goes to the country
yeah.
club and Paris.
Mhm. I feel like she's on a night out of town on the
She
town right now.
is. Ooh, Kevin.
Yeah.
I need to put some diamonds in that necklace.
Yes.
Yes, please. Good
So
night,
this is the first
Tony.
piece of art I've done.
Bye, Tony.
in
Good job,
probably
Kevin.
50
Amazing
years. I
job.
gotta go back
Uh-huh.
to grade school before we did something
Oh.
like that.
Kevin, that does
I
not
love it
look
though.
like a first attempt at all. That you did
No, it
so
doesn't.
good.
Nope, it doesn't. There's so much personality, and I'm really loving the direction of the wings. Like the mark making that you made on the
Yes.
wings is beautiful.
Thank you.
You did so well.
All right. Have I
Yay.
not got, if you want to share, and if I haven't gotten to you.
Yeah. Oh, I see Amina.
Amina, you're up.
Yes.
Let's go,
There you
Amina.
go.
All right, mine I feel like looks like she got bit by a zombie.
I'm loving the browns mixed with the purple though.
Yes.
I'm
Those wings
focused
are
on
gonna look
that.
awesome when you get them blended.
Mhm. Yep.
Yeah,
Thank
that's
you.
gonna be a beautiful gradient. And I feel like
Thank
there's a
you.
lot of fire in the owl's eyes. A lot of
Uh-huh.
Absolutely.
Passion.
Or
That's a good
electricity.
one. Mhm.
What a passionate
So
owl.
she's an owl that has superpowers. That's what I'm seeing.
Definitely.
Love that.
Absolutely.
Uh-huh.
Thank you.
And then
You're
who
welcome.
else did I not get?
Anyone
I'm
else?
not
And I will
happy.
put
I
those
have
purple.
mine. I'm not really happy with it.
Yeah, that's okay. We're still working.
Like you got bit by a zombie.
I gotta do
I
something.
love him. Or whatever
Yes.
gender the owl is.
Yes,
beautiful
Tara.
owl.
that, Karen.
Honestly,
That's awesome.
you seriously did so well. The colors are gorgeous. The colors are not something
They're
I would have thought to put
beautiful.
together, but they work so well together.
They keep disappearing, and then I'm like, "Oh, last color used. Where did that go? It went
Where did
away."
that go?
Honestly,
Oh my
Hannah, I
goodness.
feel like that's very Picasso. The way that Karen
Uh-huh.
did it, it kind of has a Picasso feeling to it.
Van Gogh feeling, that's
Van
for
Gogh
sure.
too, yeah.
Mhm.
That
Van
pop
Gogh, that's for
art.
sure.
Thank you,
I
Karen.
love the eyebrows at the top.
And then
So cool.
iPad, whatever your name is. Oh my gosh.
There we go.
What
Those
a beautiful
colors are
fall
gorgeous.
owl.
Very historic looking.
Uh-huh. I love that.
Oh,
It's just
that's
honestly
such a
like
good job.
he's in motion. He or she is in motion right now.
I love
I love it.
feet.
The
Uh-huh.
texture. Oh,
The
such a good
texture.
job.
The
I'm so
placement
proud
of the
of you.
colors. Mm-hmm. The placement of the colors, like the way you have it blended without even actually using the blender, it looks so
Amazing.
nice the way it is.
Amazing job.
Yay, thank you. Lovely. And we will put those pupils in, guys.
You're gonna show us what that this weird paper thing is for?
Yeah, of course. That is honestly just to, I dropped mine a while back. Here it is.
And Hannah, while you're
okay.
doing that, did I miss anybody? If you want to show your art, you don't have to. We're not going to force you.
Yeah, we won't make you. Okay.
All right. Okay. So Hannah, I'll spotlight you again so you can show it.
Okay. So, you guys, some of you guys, not everybody, I wasn't able to send this to everybody, but it should have come with most of y'all's supplies. This is for whenever this area becomes too blunted. It's basically like your sharpener. It's like it's sandpaper and it basically sharpens it, but it also cleans it too. So just kind of fix it up. So it's gonna be very what's the word? Sandy, like you're gonna have like sawdust, but not sawdust, you know what I mean. So once you actually turn it all around, fix it up, take your napkin, wipe it off, and
okay.
much better. See that?
Oh, it is sandpaper. I thought it was just paper.
Yeah.
I didn't get past the first level.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah,
Like, it's just paper.
that's right. I forgot. You got to tear off the paper, and then you'll get to the sandpaper. So
Okay, so my last question before I probably have to leave.
yes.
So how do we store? Does it dry? Do we?
Honestly,
Do I just slam the thing shut and it smears all over on the next page?
it does.
Oh,
It will smear eventually. So if I were you, I would take it out and either frame it or put it in one of those plastic.
Absolutely frame it.
Frame
Can I
it.
shellac
Yes.
it or okay, that's good to know.
Honestly, I don't know what kind of varnish will be able to go on top of it because it's oil. Yeah, it's oil, so
okay.
it's different. Mhm.
All right, well, I won't just slam the notebook shut.
Yeah, for sure. Tear it out, frame it.
And Hannah, can you really quickly put the pupils in the eyes for everybody? And then we will say
Absolutely.
good night.
I would recommend blending your eye colors first before you put the pupils in. Once you've got it all blended, you choose a dark color. It doesn't have to be black. This one in particular is navy blue. I just liked the contrast. And then you can go right on top of it and make the pupils as large as you want them to do. This one in particular, I ended up adding colors in afterwards. Again, in that radiating motion. I actually recommend, I know I made these pupils kind of small. I recommend making them a little bit bigger, because once you, if you wanted to go over them with a different color, or if you decide to blend them out a little bit, like this one is blended out a little bit, it will get a little bit smaller. So that's only if you want to blend it though. You don't have to do that. This one, blending it this way, makes them smaller, but it also leaves you room to add a different color on top of it. So that is all for that. Real quick, in case you were wondering how to blend the lighter colors right here, just real quick, it's the same thing. You pressed down already very lightly. And literally all you're doing is going in between your patches, again, going with the line direction that you already placed in there. Watch out, because some of these colors, they're going to want to blend a little bit. So wipe your blender often. Wipe it well, wipe it often. But it does look nice when some of these colors blend together. Looks a little bit more realistic.
Can you show us the branch too, real quick?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. So, assuming you have everything blended back here, see that? Just wanted to show you that real quick. Assuming all this is blended, after all of that, then you're going to take your dark color of choice. It can absolutely be black. And let me show you here. It's definitely a good idea to be brave with this part, okay? Go for it. You're going to start at the bottom and you're going to make your main branches. So you're going to start with one branch, then it's going to become 2 branches, and then 3 or 4, 5, 6. Down at the bottom, we're just going to pretend I have color down here. And we're going to stretch it up very loosely. You can see that I have some, like I can really see my lines in between. That's the first one. It's going to literally branch off into my second. Again, we're just going to pretend I have color up there. And then perhaps add some more. Now, sometimes it helps me just to know that these are definitely going to be thicker. But I would definitely still start thin, because you can always make it thicker. You can't really take away, like your branches are not going to go on a diet, right? And then they definitely are a little bit pointy. They have elbows, if you want to call them elbows, like that. So you can kind of make a point and then have another branch sticking out like so. They have more branches towards the top than they do at the bottom. So I can have one sticking out here, but I already know that these are going to have more branches at the top. I can crisscross them if I want to. And then just as an added layer, I actually added a second color by just following the lines that I already put in there. So I added blue. Purple would also be another good candidate for that. And I literally just went and filled in the spaces. Like I had a lot of white down here. Follow along what's already established. It just sort of makes them a little bit more interesting. Like that. Any other questions?
And then didn't one have a horizontal branch, or did the other one did it? Or,
yeah, this guy right here.
Oh,
yes.
okay.
So for that horizontal branch. Yes, because he needs to be standing on something. So no matter what you have in the background here, the process is very similar. So in the back, closer to the tree, you're going to figure out where your tree is located. So there's a lot of space over here. So I can have my tree located here, but I'm going to pretend that my branch is coming out like here, like from here. So it's very, very thick. You can see that. But again, I'm going to start out very thin. Your tree can't really go on a diet. So the only reason I went down below is because I am going to make it thicker. See that? I can just kind of fill this in. And if you're going to make a longer branch like this, I would definitely stretch your marks, stretch them outward. Unless, of course, you're right next to the feet, then I would be much more careful around there. But I'm still going with the shape of the branch itself. And again, I can always go over it with my second color of choice. In this case, it's blue. And actually, it's pretty nice that it's actually blending in. It's doing the job of the blender, and it's blending in the black while also lending its own color. So that's kind of neat. Now, of course, if I'm adding color around the feet, I have tiny spaces I need to be wary of. So it's okay if you're not able to exactly stick with the longer brush strokes or go with the shape. There we go. I'm much more proud of this branch than I am of this one. There we go. Any other questions? Oops.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, we're gonna add the wing, like the line back that we erased.
Which one? Which pose?
Your left. Well, I think your left one.
The side eye owl.
Yeah, the side owl.
Oh, the side owl. Side eye owl. Do you mean this one right here?
Because we blended, and when we were coloring it in, we lost the line that separates the two.
The wings, the two wings in the middle.
Darker color.
Yes, this one. Yes, absolutely. So this color right here, this is actually the whole reason I decided to put both blue and purple on top of it. It's because I lost that line. So any sort of dark color you can find, do your best to identify it and see if you can even like bring your finger on there. Don't exactly touch it, but choose the lighter of the two colors. So for me, that'd be purple. And then sort of retrace your steps a little bit. Yeah, that's a great question. And actually, I really want to put this color in there. So I was very loose with this one. I just sort of decided that I was not going to go very carefully with it. And that caused me to do stuff like this. Go over it again and again, like that. And because this is blue, and I don't want this color to be the only color right in the middle, that's actually why I decided to put these marks right on top of this area here, because I wanted it to be consistent. And because I already know that this blue is a dark color, I tried to stick with just mostly the dark areas. And this is actually a great question, because that's also the reason I decided to put blue and purple up here too, because I was like, okay, now I have to balance the top and the bottom. So let's just put this dark color up here too.
And you still blend it.
Yes, yeah, I still actually no, this no, I did not blend this actually. This was added after I did all my other blending.
Okay.
So if I wanted to add additional color can I put color over something I've already blended?
Yes, you can. Absolutely. And in fact, let me see if I can show you. It somewhat depends on the colors that you choose to overlap. So say for example, this is all blended. I'm just going to pretend it's all blended right here. Actually, I'm doing it right now. So this is all blended right here. Remember that exercise we did in which we went over some colors just to see what would layer, if it would layer at all?
Yes.
Well, it depends on you, and it depends also on the color. The darker ones are going to be much more likely to overlap what's already there. So I could maybe try out this purple, see what happens. And yes, I'm very successful because the purple is much darker than this orange and this brown right here. So you can absolutely blend everything first and then go on top of it with one of your darker colors. And in fact, I think this may even be strong enough. Yeah, honestly, for mine, even this orange is strong enough to go over and overlap. So it really does vary by the oil pastel set.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
I have a question. Because I'm just going crazy with whatever. I can't find the other colors. Blender, so I'm making my own thing.
Yeah.
So now I'm just going, what can I do about the eyes? Because I wound up making the eyes too much. The eye color. Well, I don't know. Can you spotlight it?
Yeah, let me put you up there. Oh, there we go. Thanks, Alexa.
Eye colors too. Like, so what can I make the eye? Because I kind of like all the color. What can I do to make the eyes more dramatic?
Dramatic. So, good question. I would choose a color you already have in your picture. So for me, what stands out is that orange that you have in the background. Maybe that color would be good to add on top of it and radiate outward. So kind of like this one right here, radiate outward.
Oh, okay.
I often find that if you don't know exactly what color to choose, take a look at what you already have in here and put that in its place.
Well, that's what I did with the rest, because it was all kind of pale. So I wound up using colors and just throwing them in, because you taught me to do stuff like that. You know, I just found out throwing them into the picture, and then it was like, well, now I lost the eye.
I feel like that owl is so distinguished that like that's a presidential owl. And that's the official portrait. The owl looks so distinguished, and it looks like a presidential owl. And like, that's the official presidential portrait.
Its name.
Distinguished. I noticed that, you know, I'm often not happy when I'm done and I work on it a little bit. And then I go, oh no, I like that. That works.
Yeah.
You're right.
After a little work. Yeah. Honestly, it does look very stately.
All right, Hannah, it's probably time for bedtime with most of our folks. I want to give a big thank you to everyone who participated. We will be following up with you, and thank you so much. Good night, everybody.